The feeling of emptiness can really overwhelm us to the point that we start to feel anxious because now it's not the actual emotion itself, it's that we are not able to understand why we are feeling that way. The feeling of emptiness is not that when you are doing nothing and you are simply waiting for something. It can be there with you when you are the busiest person in the world. Why and how, it is not easy to describe, but you can try to understand it. Why you are feeling that way and in what situation do you feel. You cannot find a cure for it, but when you have the awareness of what you are feeling right now, then you can do certain things, take certain steps to make sure that you are on the right path and not do something stupid when you feel that way. We have seen in the past how many great talented artists we have lost because of drugs, alcohol, and other substances of abuse. It's not that they were bad people or they were lost or distracted. It's they are not able to understand their own mind. Because when you are on that height, when you are the best at whatever you do, then you almost expect that everything in life will come easy to you. But that's not the case. Life treats the toppest guy and the lowest guy the same way. They have to go through their feelings, their inner emotions, which held us, which makes us human. But they both have different way of coping with it. No matter how big you get, no matter how what position you are, you might be really wealthy or financially well off, but few backstep and few wrong decision can get you down, can get you down real quick. So there is nothing permanent in life. We human in the beginning, when our forefathers during the earliest part of our evolution, they had to stay in jungle. Can you believe it? With all the other elements and animals and organisms that exist in jungle, they have to go through those elements equally the same way as the other organism those were present in the jungle. So they have to hide in tree and wait for days to find the right spot to get out, to collect food, to gather something that they can use when they can't find the food for days, because they just could not walk out just like that in the daylight because they were surrounded by predators, snakes, and all the animal which can harm you, all the insects and vermin which can hurt you. So it was not easy for them. So during the waiting, they just simply sit and waited. Can you see? Can you imagine what they have to go through? And that feeling of emptiness has been part of our life since our evolution. So sometimes we do get to that feeling. But there is one pattern with emptiness which is very often seen. Like for my own experience, I can see that I feel empty sometimes when I have nothing to do during the weekends, and those are the time that I feel confused about what's next. Every plans, every ideas, all the things that I want to do, I think about doing earlier. It all seems useless to me on those moments. You know, Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, he said that smallest and the smallest problem of our life cannot be fully resolved. It can only be made worse. It can never be fully taken care of. It is a very deep statement, and what does he meant about it? He meant that a human being, like our anger, other emotions like anger, fear, hate, we can never get rid of it. All we can do is to get better at managing it. That's all we can do. The same goes for emptiness. When you start focusing that, when you, instead of getting overwhelmed, when you are feeling the emotion, instead you acknowledge that, okay, now I'm feeling empty right now. That's why I'm confused, and I'm supposed to be confused. It's not like a disease. Every human being has to go through it. You have seen the big sport athletes, when they achieve greatest thing they dreamed of since they were child, they speak about depression. So that's the part of it. So when you recognize that what of your emotion, and when at what time you feel, there is a strong chance that when you feel it the next time, you recognize it, and then you can do some positive thing to make sure that it stays that way. And our mind is very habitual about the patterns. If you start to follow a similar pattern, our mind can adapt to that very quickly, because it's very malleable. There are a lot of things fixed about us to keep us safe. Because suppose that if we didn't had logic to think about we can be hurt if we get out in the forest in the earlier part of civilization, then we human being would not have existed till now. But they have that logic in their head, so they survived. And after that, they started building houses to protect their children, to live, to survive without fear. After that, they started hunting and gathering. To do that, they started building more weapons, and then agriculture. That's how we evolved. But most important thing is, when you feel that way, when you recognize that, after that, next step is to use that time to do something. Not for a very long time, like for 20 minutes, for 15 minutes at least. Read something. There are a lot of things that you can do. Don't take the use of al- alcohol, cigarettes, and any kind of narcotic to get you through that period, because since I said our mind is very adaptable, you can get used to this thing when you feel that way, and you will use that as much as possible to avoiding feeling that way. There is no solution. So you have to use that time when you realize you are feeling that way in a positive manner. Read. There are a lot of powerful exercise that you can do without going into a gym. So if you are thinking about going into gym, then have that self discipline and start on the floor. Do push ups, do anything, and it will help you. And slowly, once you get used to it, your own way of functioning, when you go through emotions, it will help you get over other emotions as well. It will help you control other aspects of your life, your emotions, and it will help you get make better decision when you are under those circumstances. But the most important thing is, always seek help, always get better, and don't think that it's something to be ashamed of. There is nothing to be ashamed of, because we are human beings, and believe me, everybody has to go through it. Just that don't say it, don't speak about it, keep it a taboo, but it's not. And if you start asking the right question, you will find the answer. So you have to start reaching out, so that you can understand that if there is somebody out there who feel the same way and how they cope through it, then you can get through it. So that's it for the day, and be safe, be kind, and respect yourself, and show the love that you are waiting to give your any person that you really close to. so that a little bit of love to yourself as well. You deserve it. Thank you.